Hi friends, it's Julie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a reading check-in video for you guys. So I'm going to let you know the books that I've read recently and what I'm currently reading. So it's been a couple months since I have updated you guys. So I'm going to do a quick little life update, but if you want to skip ahead to the book portion, I will leave a timestamp down below so that you can do that. But like I said, since it's been a couple months, I thought I'd kind of tell you guys what's been going on with me. So since the last time I talked to you, my sister has came to visit, my mom's came to visit. We're having visitors again next week. Everyone wants to come out to Colorado. No, it's been great because I really miss my family. We went on a ski trip. That was really fun. The girls had spring break last week. Trace has been traveling a little bit more than usual. He went to Toronto for a few days. He had to go to Kansas City for a few days, so that kind of changed things up a bit. I was a single parent there for a few days, and props to all of you guys who do that all the time because you guys are rock stars because it's really hard. And what else? Oh, I started 2 new nursing jobs, which is something very new for me. I've been a stay-at-home mom for the last like 5 years. The first job I got was in home health, and I actually think I'm going to be leaving that one because shortly after I got offered a hospice nursing position, and hospice is really where my heart is at as a nurse. I have experience in that previously, and I fell in love with that type of nursing, and I really want to focus on this job because that's really where I want to take my career. So I've been training a lot, and it's been absolutely wonderful. I'm excited to start taking my own patients and things like that, but yeah, it's just been keeping me so busy because I'm not used to juggling work and everything else that I take care of around the house and with the kids and everything. So I just haven't had a lot of free time recently. But I have read quite a few books over the last couple months, not really as much in March as I did in February. So in February, I ended up picking up quite a few horror novels, which I was really excited about because I don't know if you remember, but in my last video, I told you I wanted to pick some up for the Ladies of Horror Fiction readathon that went on in February, and I did that. I ended up getting a Kindle Unlimited, like a free membership for a month. And I've actually kept it going for a couple more months because I wanted to finish out some books. But in case you guys don't know, there's quite a few like indie horror novels on Kindle Unlimited. So if you ever get a free month, you should definitely check some out. But yeah, let's talk about some books. So the first book I want to talk about is Seed by Anya Alborn. You guys know that I love Anya Alborn. She's one of my favorite authors. And every time I pick up one of her books, I'm just so pleasantly surprised. Like, even if it's a different type of horror than what I usually like, I almost always enjoy her books. I don't think there's been one of her books that I didn't enjoy. This book isn't my favorite of hers, that is still Brother, but I still really enjoy this one. It's very short. The audiobook of this is done really well. And this is a story about this family who is driving down the road one night. The father's driving and he sees like these eyes on like the side of the road, and it causes them to get into an accident. And shortly after the accident, their youngest daughter starts acting very strange. Everyone was fine, like no one got hurt in the accident, but his daughter just is acting very, very different, and it starts to bring up these old memories from when he was a child, and ultimately he has to face like the demons of his past in order to save his daughter. And that's all I'm really going to say about it. Like I said, the audiobook of this was done really well, and just like in all of Anya's books, she really focuses on the characters, and that's something that I love so much about her writing because I think that that's something that you don't always see in this genre. It's usually more plot, and while her books do have a plot that drives the book, she really takes the time to develop her characters and really focuses on them so you feel like you come to know them and care about them. And that's exactly what happened in this book. There's definitely some creepy kid elements in this, which if that's something that you like, I would recommend picking this up. Yeah, it was good. And the ending was in true Anya fashion. If you've read any of her books, well, I can't remember how The Devil Crept In ended, but in Brother, Within These Walls, and now in this one, she definitely has kind of a theme kind of going on, and I love her endings. I just love them. I know a lot of people probably don't, but I do. So yeah, can't wait to keep making my way through the rest of her books. Then the next book I want to talk about is a novella that I picked up on Kindle Unlimited, and that was Catholic Creme by Renee Miller. And this was so dark and disturbing and just so good. So this is a story about a stalker who has some definite mommy issues going on. You find that out in the very first chapter. But as he gets older, he becomes a real estate agent, and whenever he sells a home to a couple or a woman, he installs cameras in the home. Like, he hides cameras in the walls and he watches the women. And sometimes he does more than just watch. And like I said, this was a novella. I read this in one sitting, and the entire time I was reading it, I was like, this is so dark and messed up, but I'm just enjoying it so much. And is something wrong with me? Like, do you ever feel that way when you're reading horror sometimes? This book is definitely not going to be for everyone. There are some very graphic moments in this book, lots of body horror. It is dark. It is just, yeah, it's definitely not going to be for everyone. But if you like those elements in your books, like I do, then I definitely recommend picking it up. The only criticism I have of it is I really don't like when authors put the title of their book into the story multiple times. And there was this saying that the guy would say, it was like, cats like cream and boys do dream, or something like that. And he said it quite a few times, and so it kind of started to irritate me a little bit, but that's really my only criticism of it. I really enjoyed her writing in the story. She isn't afraid to go to really dark places, and you guys know that's something that I really like. So I actually ended up picking up another one of her books called Church. It's another novella on Kindle Unlimited, and I didn't enjoy this one quite as much. This is about a church cult, which is something that I usually really like, but there was just too much body horror in this one for me. There wasn't enough like story and plot. It was just a lot of like torture. I think it's called like torture porn, maybe. It was just a little too much for me. Like I said, I just like a little bit more story, but I do really enjoy her writing, so I'm definitely going to check out more of her books. And I think there's more of them on Kindle Unlimited, like more novellas and stuff. So I'm definitely going to check them out. Renee Miller is an author that I want to explore more of, because like I said, she's not afraid to go to those really disturbing places, and I'm always looking for authors that can do that for me. Then the next two books are ones that I didn't really love, and the first one of those was My Sister the Serial Killer. This is a pretty popular book, especially like on Bookstagram, at least within the last couple months, and I can't remember the author's name. I will put a picture in over here, and I will link to it down below on Goodreads, like I always do. But I didn't love this book, and I listened to it on audio. I thought that the audio narration was done really well. I just think that maybe it was too short, or I would have liked maybe multiple perspectives. So in this book, we're following two sisters. One is a serial killer, and the other one cleans up after her sister's messes. And we're following from the perspective of the cleaner, the cleaner one. And while I really liked that the book focused on the sister relationships a lot, because I really enjoy that in my books, because I have a sister, it's just the two of us, so I feel like I can kind of relate, you know, a bit. I think maybe I would have liked to have some chapters from the perspective of the serial killer sister. I don't know, this book just, I didn't really feel like I connected to the characters, and like I said, I don't know if that's just because it was maybe a little too short, but I have known people who've really enjoyed this book, so if it sounds interesting to you, you know, give it a try. It's pretty short, and especially the audiobook is really short, and like I said, the narration is done very well. Then the next book I want to talk about is Out Behind the Barn by John Bowden and Chad Lutsky, and this was another book that I found on Kindle Unlimited. And when I read the little synopsis, it sounded like something right up my alley. I'm going to read it to you because it's really, really short. I don't usually do this. But it says, "The boys crept to the window and watched as Miss Maggie carried the long bundle into the barn, the weight of it stooping her aging back. Rafter light spilled from the barn's doorway, and Davy saw an arm fall from the canvas-wrapped parcel. He smiled. She got someone. Both children grinned and settled in their beds, eyes fixed to the ceiling. This was family growth." So I went into this book expecting like some backwoods family that kidnaps people, maybe murders them, I don't know. Just from that little synopsis, I went into it expecting something and got something completely different. So it really surprised me, and not in a good way, because there was a supernatural element to the story. And now reading the synopsis, I see where I went wrong. But I think if I would have went into it expecting there to be a supernatural element, I might have enjoyed it more. I thought that the writing was really good. I would definitely read something else by these authors. But yeah, that supernatural element just kind of threw me for a loop, and so I didn't end up enjoying it as much as I was expecting to. But it is on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have a membership, you can check it out. And I think if you go into it expecting that it's not like realistic horror, then you might really enjoy it, because like I said, I really enjoyed the writing. Then the last horror book that I want to talk about is The Darkest Hours by Mike Thorne. This is a horror short story collection, and I loved this. I thought it was just so good. There was honestly a story in this book for everyone. Like, it was all different types of horror. There was psychological, there was body horror, there was demons, there was like this big giant blob, there was this man with this weird obsession with hair. I mean, there was just honestly a story for everyone in this collection. I don't think there was one that I didn't enjoy. Even the ones that aren't typically my type of horror, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was written so well. All the stories were so unique. And I loved that I could sit down and, read a story in like 10 or 15 minutes and get like my scary fix. There were definitely some creepy moments in this. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. This is something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, so it is on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm gonna actually buy myself a physical copy of this because there were stories that I could reread this entire collection. I just thought it was done so well, and I can't wait to see what else Mike Thorne writes. And then last book I want to talk about is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This is the second book in the Arc of the Scythe, I believe is what this trilogy is called, but it's a YA trilogy. I picked up the first book a few months ago. You guys probably remember me talking about it. But this is a like science fiction dystopian trilogy, and it's set in a future Earth where our cloud has been given artificial intelligence, and it's now known as the Thunderhead, and it solved all the world's problems. So people no longer die of natural causes, and so this group of people have been put in a place called scythes, and it's their job to keep the population under control. So they kill people. And in the first book, we're following two young people who are training to become scythes, and then this book picks up right where the first book left off, and this one just deals more with like the politics of the scythedom, and we learn more about the Thunderhead, and it was really fun. I flew through this. I did take a little bit of a break because I had a lot of stuff going on in my life, but I was reading this with Jess from Jess McGlynn, and so she finished it before I did, but yeah, it was really good. The ending was crazy. It was not what I was expecting, so I'm really excited to see how he's going to finish out this trilogy. Like, I don't really know what direction he's going to go. And now I just quickly want to go over the books that I'm currently reading. The first one is Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb. This is the third and final book in the Tawny Man trilogy. I'm Betty reading this with Katie. Like, I have read all of Robin Hobb's books, and yeah, I'm excited to see how this is all going to end. I'm about 7 chapters into it so far, and I'm listening to it on audio because I love Robin Hobb's books on audio. They're just fantastic. They're just always done so well. And then I'm also reading a thriller called The Neighbor by Lisa Gardner. I've never read anything by her before, but I am becoming friends with this other girl here in the city. We met, I don't know, a couple months ago at a party, and she had texted me and told me she was going to be picking up this book, and and asked me if I wanted to read it with her, and I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm about 300 pages into it. It's pretty long for a thriller, but so far I'm enjoying it. It's moving very quickly. It's definitely a page turner. I think Lisa Gardner is one of those like kind of mass market like thriller authors, and because I see her books everywhere, but so far it's pretty good. I believe it's more classified as like a domestic thriller, which I don't typically like, but this one's actually written pretty well. And then the last book I'm reading is still The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell. This has been pretty slow going for me. I've put it down for a while, and I'm just like slowly making my way through it. I love these characters so much because I have been watching the show on Netflix. Well, my husband and I have watched it all the way through once, and then we had started it again, but we're taking a break for Game of Thrones, to be ready for the new season. But I love the characters in this so much, and so I really wanted to read this series. But I'm finding the book a little hard to get through, and I think it's because there's so much name dropping. And I really struggle with that in books, especially because in this, there are so many names that are very similar to each other, like Ethelred, Ethelfred, Ethel whatever. And so it's hard to keep everybody straight. And I think that if I hadn't watched the show, I would be kind of confused in this. I'm not gonna lie. But it's good. It is different than the first season. This is the first book, and there's definitely some parts of the story that are different. So I am excited to continue on with the series. It's just, this has been pretty slow going for me. But that is everything that I have read recently and what I'm currently reading. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them. But I think that's it for the day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again very soon. Happy reading. Bye.